friends, welcome to my channel Creating Essence. I am Megan. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today we wrapped up our first period of year-round schooling. If you have been around here long, you know that we have recently switched to year-round schooling from a traditional school calendar. We've decided for the most part to go with 6 weeks on, 1 week off. Some would call this a Sabbath style year-round schooling because of the concept of 6 work days and a Sabbath where you rest. I will put links in the info box below to the curriculum plans for each of my children, as well as the video on why we made that change. I decided that I would try to give you all a little sort of update, a recap for how each period of school is going. We started in the middle of June and it is now the end of July. We just did our state required testing. So technically the kids get almost 2 weeks. Well, I use the end of this week to wrap up all the reporting that I need to do to end our 2017-2018 school year and start our 2018-2019 school year. We live in the state of Virginia and they don't require much, but they do require some things. And I have been able to organize it all so it's just one packet I send to them all at once each year. Now, some of you may be surprised that we do the standardized testing because I have mentioned pretty adamantly in my curriculum videos that we do not do regular testing as far as content review and testing knowledge retention. As one of my viewers brought up in one of our videos recently, what happens when the kids get older? What about actual test taking skills? And I think that's a really valid question, and since I'm addressing standardized testing right now, I will just let you know where we stand on that. So I am the sole teacher of my kids. My husband does help, but in general, I organize the curriculum, I know their strengths and weaknesses, and I am doing the day-to-day learning with them. I know the content they're learning, I can tell when they're struggling, and I know when they've mastered something and got it. I teach them a lesson, they do the work, I correct the lesson, and then we go over it together. I know when they've mastered something and I know when they're struggling with it. I don't need to give them a test sheet and say, now prove to me that you actually know this. Testing is a really inappropriate method for most people as far as actually getting an adequate gauge of what their knowledge base is or their information retention. It's really common for kids in elementary and middle school to actually have very poor testing abilities. In high school and even in college, it is a legitimate issue that people just struggle to take tests. It's a very high stakes, high stress environment. I don't need to create that for my kids when I already see on a day-to-day basis what they know, what they're struggling with, and immediately can implement strategies and change things up to help them with whatever their struggles are so that they do learn the content we're working with. If I were not the sole teacher though, like if we were doing correspondence school or online classes or co-op classes, then I would totally understand giving them tests at some point. As far as what our state requires for reporting, we can choose any nationally normed standardized test, or we can have an evaluation done by a professional licensed teacher and evaluator. Now, what those evaluators require differs by the person, and we have done that route in the past, but in general, we just stick to yearly, make it really fun, low stress to no stress, and I don't even tell them we're testing their knowledge. I tell them it's for me. Tell them the school district just wants to know that I actually made them do stuff this year. We make it really fun. We do prizes. When we finished this afternoon, my husband came home and got us all and we went out for a fun dinner. Just to say, yay, we got it done. We don't have to think about that for 365 more days. But anyway, onward from testing. We did that thing today. But how have the last 5.5 weeks gone, you may ask? Which is kind of the point of this video, minus my testing rant. It was a rough start. We did not even start all subjects. We haven't touched typing or ASL, and history, health, and science have become more of a larger block a couple days a week instead of an everyday subject. We have done great with continuing the core subjects every single day, and all the kids are enjoying their work and are doing really well. We had a bit of a rough go as far as life in general for probably the first 4 weeks of the period. So we had personal struggles going on, but we got through it, and we're kind of on the other side of that hump from those struggles we were dealing with, and we are moving on. I definitely have seen a difference in the kids' school habits and behaviors during the last week or two, where things in our family life have been smoothing out, so I'm really appreciative for that. I am going to do a lot of research for this next 6-week period coming up after our break we're on right now, and I'm going to look into loop scheduling for those 3 subjects that we struggle to work in so much. I think I'm going to do some research on how to implement that and see if that will work better during our next 6-week period. As far as my individual students, my oldest is in 7th grade and she is doing great. She has always struggled a bit with math, and she's found 7th grade math to be a little more of a challenge. So it's taken her a little more time, but she's still doing well, and we're just going at her pace and mastering. She hasn't started her online ASL program yet, but we will be starting that with our next 6-week period coming up. She is doing well with her violin, and as much as she hated starting with the red badge of courage because she thought it's boy stuff and it's about war and she doesn't care, she's actually been really intrigued by that great historical novel. My second is my twice exceptional son with autism, sensory processing disorder. He's doing pretty well. Focus, as usual, is the key. When he is focused, he is on fire. He gets it in a flash and he's done. His retention is excellent, and he can power through even if he doesn't like it. If he is somehow neurologically triggered, I have so many strategies for sensory input and focus helps and fidgets, and to help with stims and tics. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we just take one day, and even some days 1 hour at a time. And he has stayed absolutely caught up in every single thing, so there are no concerns there. It's just the typical daily work at making it work for him. My 3rd grader is doing wonderfully. The huge change for her was switching to all about spelling, because she is a bit of a reluctant reader and really struggles with spelling, and she is loving the program and catching on really quickly. So I have high hopes that as we continue to progress through the year, things will really start clicking for her there as well. My youngest child doing formal education at this point is my kindergartner, and he is also doing really well. Actually, he's shocking me. He's always been a bit precocious. We've known that before he was even a year old, that he just watched things and figured it out. But he has just blown me away. Every day he is way ahead in his books, and he does it fast, and he really enjoys it. He even gets his books out on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays and tells me he wants to do his schoolwork because it's really fun. I love hearing that my kids love learning. So as much as I can be really exhausted some days, I just keep pushing through and say, okay, buddy, sure. Open up your math book. We'll do math right now on a Sunday afternoon when I'm trying to rest. And another awesome surprise from him is that he is reading. We do a very relaxed preschool. It's just basically learning your numbers and your letters and learning how to write your name. It is very relaxed, play-based, and tons of reading and nature studies and just learning about the world around you. He has caught on to phonics concepts so fast. His sight words are a cinch for him to memorize, and he is already reading sentences. When we started the 6-week period, he didn't even know the letters' sounds, and now he's reading sentences. As exhausting as it is to keep up with him and go at his super speedy pace, it has been awesome to watch him develop and learn and just be so thrilled with every new thing he learns. So in all, the last 6 weeks have gone well. It's been an adjustment. We've dealt with some life struggles, but we are all progressing well, and I'm really pleased with the changes that we made in our curriculum and with the changes that we have made in our overall school calendar. If you are year-round schooling or you're making any big changes in your upcoming school year, I would love to hear about it. Tell me in the comments below what your schedule is and why that works for you. If you have a twice exceptional kiddo, I would love to chat about what it is that you're struggling, and maybe we can share some tips here on how to work with this and help our kiddos learn best. If you like this video, friends, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like this, hit that red subscribe button. Bye-bye, friends.